Do you like the moon? He asks. Well, I hate the moon. Even when everything's all perfect, the moon just has to act all special. The moonlight's gleam reveals the fragile child, its blue silhouette somber on his eyes. His fingers climb the air and stretch us apart, then hugs each other in a clench. His pale arm trembles as the nail of his fingers scrapes against its own palm. I can see myself. I can feel myself. I hate it. He releases his fist and begs to the ceiling, as if asking for it to pick him up. He laughs. Starting from his pinky, his arm gives up, now relaxed, lying beside him just as weak. And as it did, he disappears. I like clouds better, he says. They're just there, like me. There's so many of them that you don't know which is which. Into the thin air, yet still here. The moonlight's there, but into the thin air it goes, like me. Behind enough clouds, everything disappears into thin air, just like me. I can't see myself. I can't feel myself. I love it. I don't want to be anything. Chuckles, whispers, grunting, a choir of balls. He cries, and I can see him in the darkness. Is he still there? There's nothing to see, so there's nothing to think about. There's nothing to hear, so there's nothing to worry about. He cries. I don't want to feel this way. Hi, and welcome back. I hope you've had at least a tolerable time so far. Go grab yourself some snacks or maybe something warm to drink. Relax, and we can start being useless together. Well, I'm not very good at this, so you wouldn't mind if I cut straight to the chase with you. So, if you were given a choice between two canvases, one harboring the most beautiful painting you've ever seen, while the other is still a pure white, untouched canvas, which one will you choose? Well, going with the first answer, I might be able to assume for different reasons. Maybe you don't see yourself as a very good painter, and you don't think that you can produce anything close to the magnificence of the already painted canvas. Plus, you can probably sell the painting for a huge amount of cash and go home a winner anyway. And if you choose the latter, then you might be more confident in your painting skills. Or perhaps you simply enjoy the act of painting itself. Maybe you were running out of canvases, so the offer seems perfect. Regardless of your answer, it doesn't really matter much now, doesn't it? But if I change the word canvas to lives, then it probably still wouldn't matter, huh? You can't exactly choose your lives anyway. But for the sake of fun, think about it. If you were given a choice to choose between two lives, one harboring the best, most fulfilled, and successful life you can imagine, while the other is a pure start, a reset, if you will, which one will you choose? Well, the short writing I told you just now is about that, and here's a tiny continuation of it. I feel my muscles tighten, my chest hurting. It sludges and tars and brick walls. They pin me unmoving. They felt like a sarcophagus, especially tempered for me, a hole only I can fall into. Every nook and cranny fitting, latching indiscriminately. There I become as stationary as the clouds in the sky, without the free will to move where it wants. You thought it would be choking, but no, it's as if I'm floating free. When every part of the body is forced to rest, we would get comfortable. As the body is given no choice but to stay, so does the mind forgets what it desires. Without anything, there's no reason to act. There's no reason to become something. You can't move, so why should you? And if you can't move, then why should you be awake? Soon, my eyes close, my fingertips lose their touch, and my heartbeat dissipates. It's comfortable. It's comfortable to be a dirty laundry. Hi again. I know it's such a roundabout way to try to explain something, but bear with me. So, have you ever felt this way? I don't exactly know what it is, but it is familiar. Perhaps a mix of apathy, a splash of despair. I'm pretty sure that all of us have felt this way, in different magnitudes, of course. The way that you know that you exist, and the fact that you are alive, but you don't want to be. Instead of living, you choose not to be burdened by anything, to have no reason to do anything, thinking that it might be what true freedom tastes like. It's like despising a part of your life to the extent that you would exchange it for another. What you've experienced in your life might not reach that extent, or it might have. Either's fine. Everything is fine here. Be it in different moments and points in life. I'm sure you've gotten tired and thought you've realized a lot of things about the reality we live in. And I have to agree. The world's often brash and untactful. It doesn't really think twice before doing something. And when eventually you get tired of it all, you would then pick apart the world, see bits that applies to you, pick them up and start over. You keep starting over until there's this lump of ball of the things that applies to you, and you regard that as a realization. The view of the world that happened. The view of the world that is reality. Yours. Your interpretation painted on the blank canvas. I've hated the world. And that was my realization at that point in my life. I won't be too specific about it. It's not that important. What's important is that I did the same things. I picked the memories that stood out to me and put them under the spotlight, interrogating their justifications, usually finding none. And so those memories without justification I labeled as stupid and illogical. They were unnecessary. And my realization is that my reality, this world, was filled of it. Unnecessary pain. How can it not be? The accumulated knowledge that we're asked to be brought into our mind might not be so useful when we've graduated from a certain education. All they do is bring more questions, and there's not a particular way to answer them. We live in a constant need of sustenance of both physical and mental attributes, without the existence of a reliable and a constant provider. Everything might leave, everything might disappear. And for what? When I die, that's said. The struggle, the pain, the efforts, they amount to nothing. Even if there are things that I left behind, they were not meant for me. They were meant for those that care about me. But that too might be non-existent, as I become just as well. So there I thought, how appealing a life given to you would be. A life that you design on your own and give to yourself to live through. And then the amount of struggle and pain can only just be that, never out of control. And in the end, a life that I curated, a life given for me as I choose, will inevitably have its debt paid. Why would anyone build their lives otherwise? The most envious of life that you can imagine. If you can live through it, why wouldn't you? Because at that time I would. I chose the painted canvas. I wasn't confident. I feared that even if I were to be given another blank canvas, if I were to throw away what I've painted so far and start over, things would just stay the same. I fear that the things I've lost due to things I cannot control will eventually happen again, even with my best efforts. Unfortunate events always loom, no matter what I do. So why bother? Wouldn't you prefer that somebody saves you instead? From the things you can't control, from the things that are unfortunate. Wouldn't you have someone save you from them? And if I can have that absolution, the power to decide everything in my life, then there won't be any unfortunate events. Even if I design my life to have them, they are there because I wanted them to be there. They were at least in my control. Now, I will lose nothing without my consent. I would be able to see myself. I would be able to feel myself. And I would have loved it. There's nothing to see, so there's nothing to think about. There's nothing to hear, so there's nothing to worry about. He cries. The he in that story cried because he would have lost everything. I would have lost everything. Well, of course I didn't cry when I was thinking about this. It was all hypothetical in my mind. But we realized the same things. Well, naturally, I'm the writer of that character. In living a life that's exactly what I thought would be, then there's nothing I can do to change it. Everything that I would ever come to desire would not have come from the me who was living the life. Is that confusing? I guess it is. I just mean that even something as personal as desires would have come from the me who designed the life I was living. Therefore, this would have applied to every single thing in my life. What I would eventually come to achieve would not have come from the fruits that I've planted on my own. Everything was predetermined. by fate, by destiny, by my own design, then whatever I choose in that life, regardless if I choose to move somewhere or not, then it wouldn't be my own choice. It was predetermined that I would or would not move based on the designs I've made before by choosing this life for me. The me that is currently living that hypothetical life created by the me before turns out to be more insignificant because there's nothing he can do to change the world he's living in. And how tragic is that? It's sad. And yes, I guess, how could you ever go wrong by designing your own life? You probably know yourself best. You'll probably be able to design a life that's very enjoyable for the you that's going to live it. Hell, the you that will be living it is going to be oblivious to it anyway. Ultimately, I agree. It is comforting to have an absolute control over your life and to exactly know what you would do next. Even though we will be living a life that's without decisions. Who cares about that? A part of me feels that it's so right, to the point that if this option exists, there won't be a debate that it is meant for me. It's like a hole only I can fall into. And it feels like every nook and cranny fitting, latching indiscriminately, to be as stationary as clouds in the sky, moving where the wind takes it. It feels so free. And it makes sense too, that you don't have to do much, so therefore you won't be stressed. You don't have to think about anything. You don't have to hear about anything. Your life is set. It is comforting to be a dirty laundry. But that comfort and every single benefit that goes along with it is founded by a lie. So I went back to the drawing board and picked apart the world once again. Yeah, these things that I've interrogated before, they eventually have the same answer. No matter how much I think about it, or no matter how much I evaluate them from different perspectives, they reach the same conclusions. And some of your memories will probably reach the same conclusions too, no matter how much you endeavor towards a different answer. The conclusion is, there might not be an exact justification as to why they happened. They are plain coincidences, unnecessary coincidences. They clutter your memories with spiteful emotions. But instead of choosing these memories that stood out to myself, I just rebuild upon what I've picked apart. I saw that I was whole. I saw that I've done things. I affected someone's lives and my own. Although I'm still pretty insignificant, so small in this world, I have the power that the hypothetical me don't. I have the power to choose over the things I have control of. So yeah, it might not turn out to be the most idealistic life you have in mind. To have the power to choose over the things we have control of doesn't necessarily mean that you're immune to the disappointments that are made because of your own decisions. You can make the wrong decisions and the results will sadden you, will make you angry, and it will spin out of control. And there will be these externalities coincidences that just makes it a whole lot worse. But every decision can now be genuine, and the life is yours. A life that's not always fair, but can be appreciated regardless. Now, in the end, I might choose the blank canvas after all. Well, I can just choose both and sell the painted one on eBay. But what do I know?